Just a few feet above this hungry Cornish conger eel sit two amateur naturalists looking for adventure. There may be safer places in which to spend their retirement, but Alan Griffiths and Ray Dennis prefer to risk the dangers of the hidden depths in order to explore their own private wilderness of life and colour. This is the story of their 10-year diving adventure on Urchin Rock. Since most professional scientists work in laboratories without getting their feet wet, the underwater world is the last great wilderness, where amateurs like Alan and Ray can make original discoveries in the great tradition of the Victorian naturalists. Both grandfathers in their early 60s, Alan and Ray are founder members of the Penzance British Sub-Aqua Club. Our story starts in 1977, underwater conservation year. Amateur divers were asked to adopt a rock and to record all the life forms on it. This effort led to the formation of the Marine Conservation Society. Many exciting discoveries could be made. So Alan and Ray searched for a suitable site and found an isolated rock about the size of a house in only 16 metres of water, just 1 mile from Penzance Harbour and unknown to fishermen and other divers. The perfect site to adopt a rock. With time on their hands but no time to lose, they set to work. Most of their equipment was either old, homemade, or both. The spark plug on this engine is pre-war, and recycled brass gas taps abound. No Calypso research vessel for them. But they commute to work whenever tide, time, weather and wives allow. Their mission to survey the rock, to record and identify all life forms on it, and with luck to have fun. But every year, several divers are lost in Cornish waters, so why risk it?
Well, we've been diving now for 27 years, and each dive is still a new excitement, and well worth the risks involved of operating all the year round.
Yeah, we've been diving this reef for so long now that we feel a part of the ecosystem.
But what could two amateurs with basic equipment hope to achieve? Well, just look how much life can cram onto a rock the size of a house. Over 30 species of fish were recorded, including large shoals of pouting and poor cod. Bal and Ras are the largest residents. They have a fascinating sex life. All are born female, but after several years, one or two change into males. It's difficult to tell the difference, but obviously these two know. Another species with an interesting sex life is the lumpsucker, Cyclopterus lumpus. No complaints from the feminists here. The female lays her 250,000 eggs and then swims off, leaving the male to guard them, which he does with devotion. He refuses to leave his post despite the attention of the diver. The sheltered north face of the rock was found to house a multitude of animals and plants, including 120 colonies of soft corals, Alcyonium digitatum, or dead man's fingers. Their feeding polyps were found to contract during November and bloom again in spring. The more colourful red sea fingers showed less seasonal variation, but look what happens when Alan touches the polyps. Still on the surface of the reef, 58 sea urchins grazed on weeds and algae, while some animals preferred to live indoors, either in horizontal streets like this crab, or in high-rise blocks where it seems everyone wants to live. Some of these cracks are deep and dark. Surviving exposure to conger eels, southwesterly gales and leaking wetsuits, Alan and Ray had managed to survey and record in great detail the wonderful secret lives on their adoptive rock. And in August 1978, everything looked set fair for another exciting year of discovery. But then, disaster. Due to a rare Cornish combination of heat wave and calm, there was a heavy overgrowth of phytoplankton, a plankton bloom, and a dark haze descended on the reef. Diving a few days later revealed the sorry sight. Soft coral polyps retracted. The surrounding sand littered with dead otter shells and heart urchins. And worst of all, 53 out of 58 sea urchins dead. Back in the laboratory, Alan and Ray grimly took stock of the disaster. They give up. But the more they studied the situation, the more they realized that this natural calamity was also a great natural experiment. Since the urchins had been virtually wiped out, This was a rare opportunity to investigate the natural recolonization of the species. How long would it take? How fast would they grow? There were many questions. So here's to the future of Urchin Rock. A short paper was published in the Journal of the Marine Biological Association, and the interest shown by professional scientists encouraged Alan and Ray to carry on. So after further visits to the laboratory, the water cleared, and between 1978 and 1986, over 150 dives were made in all weathers. A once-in-a-lifetime chance to study this huge natural experiment. One big question: how quickly would life on the rock recover? Alan concentrated on the urchins. Only one eventually survived, and any new babies would only thrive if hidden in protected crevices. So he spent most of the next 2 years, head down, peering into tiny caves. But although other species seemed to recover, he could not find a single new urchin. Would they ever recover? Was urchin reproduction slower than had been thought? Meanwhile, in the tradition of the Victorian naturalist, Ray collected and recorded samples of about 100 seaweeds, of which 60 different species were found on the reef up to 1984. 24 were new recordings for the area, and one, possibly a Calisophonia, was the first British recording since the last century. Whilst the seaweeds thrived, their natural predator, the urchin, did not. Alan was still searching the small crevices. Lots of life here. And just look at the table manners of this sea cucumber. This specimen has sat here in the same spot, gorging itself for 10 years. Other potential meals hide in the dark caves. But old Ironjaws is not for the pot on this conservation rock. His only danger, the camera flash. Then, success at last. In April 1981, the first juvenile urchin was discovered. Approximately 1 centimetre in diameter and protected by this vicious little velvet swimming crab. Since then, 17 others have been discovered, ranging in size from 1 centimetre to 6 centimetres. On looking through their records, Alan and Ray discovered that most of the small urchins were protected by this crab, and observation during 64 dives revealed juvenile urchins accompanied by crabs on 63 occasions. So the velvet swimming crab seems to run an urchin protection racket, although what it gets in return remains a mystery. New adults started to appear on the surface of the reef in 1982, and regular measurements revealed a growth rate of approximately 1 centimetre per year. Only 10 new adults had emerged by 1985, so it may be many years before the pre-disaster population reappears. Alan's and Ray's work won the British Sub-Aqua Club Conservation Award, a prize in the Sunday Times Kenneth Allsop competition of 1981, and the latest results were published by Alan in a scientific journal in 1984. Meanwhile, Ray is rapidly becoming Mr. Seaweed of West Cornwall with his rare collection, and he's still looking for another Calyciphonia. The story of the adopted rock has reached a wide audience through slideshows and lectures. Recently, the Penzance British Sub-Aqua Club honoured their two oldest founder members with silver plates during their 25th anniversary celebrations. There is still an unlimited future for the project, so how long will they carry on?
I think we shall carry on until we haven't the strength to pull each other's wetsuits off.
One thing we haven't studied is the feeding habit of conger eels. The only way to find out would be feed it with mackerel and watch our fingers.
And look at the species yet to be studied. Hydroids, nudibranchs and sponges. Every dive produces new discoveries.
The latest discovery is that the urchins seem to be going clockwise around the reef at a speed of about 2 meters a year, and we want to know why.
Other future projects could include the study of bryozoa and hydroids. We should continue our search for the nudibranchs.
Walls papered with anemones. Hydroids hanging like chandeliers. But where is that conger eel? Fumbles with a pipefish while Ray opens his shopping bag. Will this wild creature take the bait? Over 2 pounds of mackerel in half an hour. Whoops! One camera lens, but not one finger so far. runs out, they know they'll be back soon to continue their work. What wonders and dangers await them on their next dive? Let's hope that exciting question keeps them going for another 10 years on Urchin Rock.